Hey people, what's going on? I'm the Dragon Puppet, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to do a Gemini tattoo. It's going to be kind of classic old school kind of style. So we're going to have two faces, sort of, one above, one sort of like, rotated round, facing the other way with some roses in between it. It's going to be a really cool design. It's going to be done on the iPad Pro in Procreate, but you can do it on paper with pens, markers, paints, whatever you want to do. Just copy what I do on here, on there, just minus the digital bits, such as like the layers and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to create a few different layers. I'm going to start off with sketching technical pencil. I'm going to use it on the bottom layer because it's going back to the sketching layer. So I'm going to sketch on in dark reds, come over to black and start doing colour and shading afterwards. So it's the usual routine I normally go for. So I'm going to basically put a line roughly around here. And basically I'm going to have one face that's going to be on this part and the other face the other way around, kind of mimicking it roughly on the other way. It's going to be the rough sort of positioning for the face. So get this line coming down here. I'm going to draw this box shape coming off of this one, like this. Kind of overlapping here, sort of divide it into four. It's my easy way of sort of drawing the faces. It's just a really easy way of sort of plotting it out. So you've got this box divided into four. Now in front of it, as you come here, curve from the top. And when you get to about this kind of height, you're going to create a little dip just inwards and then start curving outwards. You're going to bring this down to here. So create this loop coming outside the box towards the box about halfway. I'm going to create a little loop just on the outside, a little loop coming back inwards, and a bit of a circular curve just on the bottom of that. That's going to create your lips. And then on the inside part of that, just a bit in the inside the box, curve that around, and then bring this curve coming around, cutting into that box there just to create your jawline. So you've got your nose, mouth, and a part of the eye just there. So where we've got this line just here, we're going to bring this line coming up, pointing towards that little dent we just done here. A secondary line just coming here to where this kind of curve bit is here. And this one, as if it's kind of curving down towards the nose. And where you got the nose just here, we're going to bring a little line just coming up, just to the nose. So a little gap just in between, drawing straight up, following the shape of that. And now this is going to tell us where you want your eye. You want your eye roughly in this position now. It's just an easy way of kind of working out, because a lot of people do the eye too far forward, too far back. It's just an easy way of like positioning it so it's correctly where you want it. So I'm going to bring in this curve like this, curving off the end. Come back quite far. I like to make sure my eyes are quite far back. Little curve line just coming inwards from here. And where we've done that little line, just kind of a little curve just there. Curve on the inside, another curve on the inside for the pupil. So that's basically the inside part of the eye. And then I like to use this sort of line just here to create like an upper eyelid kind of bit, like so. You can go as tall as you want, or as sort of short as you want. And you want it kind of coming roughly in that sort of position. Above it, coming up from there, I'm going to create the eyebrow. So it's going to curve around it like this, coming back, curving this up, and a bit of an angle. I like to make a bit of an angle to the edge. And there, just sort of curve this down and kind of fit towards that line done for the nose. Now coming back from the centre part of the nose here, a real simple little loop is going to create this little loop like this. Just curve around, create a nostril. So see, a lot of the faces already come together now. It's a really simple way of doing it, and it's just really effective, especially for old school stuff. It kind of gives it a really kind of good old school kind of vibe. You can use a variant for like neo-traditional as well, but this is the old school version. So once we've got this done, we've got to sort of get an idea where we're going to have everything. So basically I know I'm going to have a big rose, I think in the middle, just here, to kind of separate the faces. I'm going to want to have a little kind of flower, maybe like a little smaller rose just in the hair just here. And maybe just one here. And the idea is just sort of create like a barrier, because I want them to sort of like repeat, but I don't want them to sort of feel like kind of like blending too much. So it creates a little barrier without it being obvious. And once I've got this done, create the hair. So I'm going to create this curve coming out from the side of the hair. Coming very close to the eyebrow, curving back, create another one just there, and I'm going to create this little loop just curving into the face, just here. I'm going to create a loop coming out from the hair, going around the face now. So the idea is this bit of hair's on the outside of the face, and I might have a few little kind of wavy bits just coming off around the face. I'm going to loop this part around just here. Might put like a little hairband just there coming across. Just make sure you kind of break across, because the hair you want to fill in this kind of gap. Imagine the head will go here, You want to make sure the hair comes up much higher than the head, otherwise it's going to feel like very flat, which you don't want. So I'm going to create this curve, bit kind of wavy coming around there, and that back one, just go in there. And once you've got the face done, what are you going to do? You're going to draw in reverse, but easy way of doing this on here, you can just kind of select it, and then it's going to rotate it around, and put that line so it sort of matches up on the other one. So if you draw it on paper, you basically want to do that. You basically just want to like flip around and sort of draw the same design coming the other way now. You know, easy way of doing that is just getting certain markers. You know, like you see like here, the mouth is kind of like, if you bring that line across, it's kind of in line with this eye. The nose is pretty much even, coming across. This eye again follows with that mouth. You know, the circle matches up and you get this nice kind of curve coming here with these hair parts, just like that. And once you've got this sort of done, you can kind of work out how you kind of want to join these kind of gap bits. So obviously I want to kind of a bit more hair just here, so I'm going to create this another loop. That's going to make the back of this hair, but at the same time it's going to feel correct with this part of the face. You know, it's going to feel like it's the lower part of the hair here, but also the high part back hair here. Once I've got that done, I'm going to have a little bit of neck. I'm going to create another little bit of curve, just a hair just coming off, just there. A little bit of neck, and again, just a little bit of curve, just hair coming off here. And I might do this little pattern, just 2 flat lines coming in there with some little circles coming off. Just like a little old school kind of pattern, just kind of like adds in the space. But it's got a really nice kind of flow to it. I'm really liking how this is looking. So now we've got this done, I'm going to start plotting out these kind of bits in the middle. You know, because we've got these positions here for the rose and the little flowers. So I'm going to start off with this rose here. So I'm going to bring this line across. Go set some curves in there. And flick this line out. So you're creating this as like a base. And once we've got a base, we're going to keep creating these little kind of overlaps on the sides until we kind of round it off. So cutting in about halfway for each one, like so. And then we're going to create this little loop just coming in the middle. This one can have another one just coming in there. This one might be a little bit different, so I'm going to have this one sit just a little bit above that one. And a couple of loops just in the centre. Once you've got this done, you want to create a circle that kind of fits inside those areas. Just around there like so. I'm going to create a bottom to this, so curve around like a little petal. Curve around a petal, 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 petal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can have 5 or 6. I'm going to have sort of 6 in this one, I think. But we'll see by the time I go around to the top. Once I've got done, I'm going to get a much simpler little rose, just kind of fit in this gap. It's just like a nice cute little flower, just kind of separate it. So I'm going to create this little loop like this. Little loop around the edge. Curve around, and then 5 sort of circular bits just around the edge. I'm going to create some little leaves just coming off the edge, just kind of sort of break it up. So some little loops just coming off, so just there. Now this one's coming down here. Now I'm making sure I do this one separately, so there's a little bit of difference. I don't want them to be 100% symmetric, I want a bit of slight difference, just ever so slight to each one of them. You know, because they're twins, they're not, you know, the exact same person, they're twins. You know, it's Gemini, so you know, make a little variation, maybe these sort of the leafy bits. You know, the face, I might do the eyes different colour. You know, maybe a little different detail, maybe like the hairband or something. You know, stuff where they look the same, but just ever so slightly different. You know, that's what I'm going for. Now I've got that done, I'm going to create a layer above. I'm going to go black. I'm going to start off with the inking. So I'm going to use my calligraphy pen, the monoline. I really like this. You've probably seen me use it 100 times. It just gets a really nice, bold, even, flat outline, which is perfect for old school stuff. So I'm going to start off on this face. So I'll probably do that part of the face here, you know, then flip it around to copy onto this one, and then do the middle bit. So I'm going to go around the face to begin with. I'm going to rotate it around this way, because it's just a really comfortable way of drawing. Getting this nice kind of curve off. Oops. Pen got a bit fun on me there. So just start whipping in your line work. Like so. Sorry if I flip around, I'll try and keep it straight rather than flipping around. It's just my way of drawing. If you draw digitally, you probably realise you do the same sort of thing without realising it. Get that eye in there. You know, you can use a thinner liner if you want. I like using my bold liner. I just like it for my work, especially of old school. You know, if I was doing like Neotrade, I might go a bit thinner. But yeah, I just really like it for this. Let's get this coming around here. I might actually draw the faces individually, and I can make the changes that I want. So I'm going to get this kind of pattern coming off of this kind of hairband one. So this kind of repeating kind of curve. Curve this out. Curve that down. Curve that curve. Go into this little rose just here. Just like so. Starting those little kind of petals on the outside. Just make the edge, you know, the edges a little bit kind of wavy so they're not perfectly circular. Now you can do, but I just think they look better when they're not. Get these little leafy bits in here. When doing tattoos, leaves are a perfect, well, pretty much probably the most perfect way of sort of dividing up a tattoo. You know, if there's areas you kind of want to separate, without being too obvious, like the leaves are just such a perfect little tool for doing that. Gonna get this big rose in here now. So I'm gonna create a little loop just in that. Create this loop around here. That loop just there. That one just there. Get those little curves just there. Like I said, these little loops just inside this pot. Create this petal. I like this petal to sit kind of in front, so I'm going to make this one sit more in front. Like so. Create that circular base we said, that little circle just around it. Just kind of creates the bud where it kind of sits in. Actually, I want to make that bottom a bit more curvy, that's a bit too much to one side for my liking. It's always worth taking time, kind of zoom out every now and again, just make sure everything is kind of exactly how you want it. So if you need to make changes, you can do. Pretty much just like I've done there, you know, I sort of looked at it and I kind of made a split second decision just to kind of sort of slightly adjust it. You know, it's hard to tell sometimes if you're drawing too close, you know, I know it's an easy habit with Procreate, you know, and digital work, you know, but it's nice to just zoom out, just make a habit of zooming out quite a lot. Right, so I'm going to do the other side now. I'm going to make slight differences just where it's not the exact same. So this one's going to be kind of like sitting underneath it. I'll make these waves a little bit more, these, well, petals rather, a bit more kind of wavy. Different kind of number of leaves on the outside. You know, so there's slight changes but not obvious ones. You know, because you still want it to be the same, but it's just that slight difference. Just quickly get this part of the neck in here. This one. There we go. Now I'm going to come back over this face. I'm going to flip it around the other way so we kind of got it around the right way this time. But when I do the detail, you know, I just I know I prefer doing the outside of the face like this, run this way. You know, a lot of people kind of get amazed by drawing upside down, but sometimes drawing upside down is actually more comfortable. You know, it depends on the kind of flow of your hand, you know, the kind of way you do like doing certain lines. So you're going to get this eye in here. Around there. And this time I'm going to make this hairband a different pattern coming back to the other part. So I said, you know, it's similar but not the exact same. Now, I think anyone who sort of knows twins realises that, you know, no twins are ever the exact same. And that's part of the beauty of what makes them twins. Otherwise, they'd just be the same person. So we got that in there. Just got these last little bits of detail. Any areas I missed? I've got that little curve just ahead that I missed. Make that curve on her face just a little bit different. Get that neck in there. So we're just going to have these little circles kind of in this area. Just down the centre of these two lines. And then we have like a red splash behind it. It's just a really cool effect. And once we've got that done, a sort of base outline I think we got in there, so we don't need that sketching layer on there now. So you can turn the sketching layer off, or if it's done on paper you can just rub it out. You know, you don't need it now. So I'm going to come in there and just put in some little fine, so I'm going to turn my liner right down now so it's much smaller. And just do a few little fine line details, so just getting that lip just there. Little line there for that bit. And it's going to be a few, there's not going to be too many, just a few just here and there. So basically the inside hair detail. So just here, I'm going to mimic this hair shape and just bring in these repeated lines the whole way across. Oops, got a little bit too far with that line just there. You want your lines to connect, but just be careful you don't go over the lines. Like I've done there again. If you find yourself doing this, probably because you're trying to draw too quick. You know, just slow down, you know, it's not a race, take your time. Just keep drawing these in there. Try to get them nice and symmetric. Now you can slowly rotate them as you come to a different part of the head. But you basically just want to follow the shape of the hair, so you just go from the outside line and just keep repeating the shape. It's also really satisfying if you can try and pull those lines in one smooth motion. If you can't, don't beat yourself up. You know, doing as many bits as you need to. But yeah, it's really satisfying when you can do that nice, smooth motion with it. You know, you will get with practice. You know, just give it a go. Now, if it doesn't work, you just literally just double click and go back. If you're on paper, just be a bit more careful. Maybe sketch your lines out in pencil first, just to be sure. So you've got the hair almost done on this side. And get one line, two lines in that one. And then one little line just down the centre of this one. Now don't try to squash too many lines in certain areas. You know, if it doesn't quite fit, just fit what you can and don't overdo it. Sometimes less is more with it. And sometimes more is more, you know, but I'd definitely say less is more if it's kind of like overcrowd it. Just keep these lines going. Just keep them curving nicely. And if you can get like a comfortable motion with your hand, like you see here, my hand's like nice and comfortably locked, so I can just get a nice repeating motion here. You know, it's very handy if you can do that. If you can float and kind of like sort of draw floating, then that's even better, but can be a bit tricky. So a lot of time I find kind of locking my palm down kind of helps. I think times it shows who's more of a drawer and who's more of a painter. I'm not wrong, I do loads of painting as well, but where I predominantly sort of draw on most of my stuff, I think I just made a habit of like locking the hand down. That's where you find when you paint, you tend to float more with a paintbrush. You tend to hold it more kind of like that. Well, at least I do anyway. One in there, can we get one in here? Yeah, just get one in there. So it's all shaping up quite nicely. I'm liking how this is all looking. So now we've got that, I think we're ready for some shading now. So I'm going to create a layer underneath. I'm going to click on the drawing we've done there, and I'm going to click reference. It makes it now, so when I select on that layer below and I click the selection tool up here, and I have automatic, I can now select areas within inside the line work, as long as it all connects. If it doesn't connect, it select outside the area. And just click and drag to the right, and you'll see it's got selection threshold. Just make sure it's in the high 90s. If not, you'll get like a weird white edge to your sort of line work, or to your shading rather. And you don't want that, it just kind of ruins your image. So I'm going to start off with the hair. I'm doing my favourite way of doing it, so I'm going to select all this little section just here. I'm going to go black from both edges, come across, and just leaving a little highlight just down the centre. I'm going to do this for all of them. If there's like a curve in the head, then sometimes I'll make a double. So I'll go like this, and I'll put like a little bit down the middle and create two highlights. Obviously this one hasn't quite got that, so I'm just going to come down and just do the one, I think. Like so. But yeah, you'll see if I get to a bit where I think I've got a couple of double curves in here. I'll show you what I mean. So yeah, let's go here. So we've got this curve just here where it dips. I'm going to create a little highlights on that side. And where it dips just there, I've got another highlight just there. And I prefer doing it segment by segment, you know, like rather than the whole thing in one go, just do it section by section. It just makes it easier. And you're able to judge it a bit better. So I say you've got a little dip just there, so I'm going to create a little highlight on that section. And come black across there. You know, don't be afraid of black when it comes to doing old school drawings. You know, black is such a key colour to it. You know, you need to have, well, you don't have to, but it really does help to have a lot of black in the design. You know, at least make sure that the black you put in there is sort of true black. You don't want to sort of go like a kind of sort of grey tone for the whole thing. It will really sort of take away from the image. So don't be scared of putting like the pure black into the artwork. Get black in the eyebrow. A bit of black just behind the eye. A bit of black in that hair. Just come down and select this part of the hair just here. Just keep this nice kind of motion going, you know, it's all part of it, you know, it's just getting the motion right and just kind of repeating yourself with it. You know, you get to the point where it will become like second nature and you'll be kind of whipping it in there in no time. Again, you've got a little dip just there, so I'm going to create a little highlight. Just there and there. So you get a double highlight. This black flowing in this part. There might be a few little bits just here, you can see a little white highlight just there. I'll come back at the end and just kind of get rid of those. It's just sometimes where certain areas just like here just don't get selected. Black in that area. Black from the top there, black on the bottom. It's very satisfying once you kind of get to the end of doing this. You know, when you first start doing it, it looks kind of a bit weird, but as it all starts to come together, you know, you kind of sort of look at it and going, oh yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. Let's get these last little bits of the hair. Sorry about notifications, I would turn them off, but it just doesn't let me. I think it's like an error in my thing. Even when you put airplane mode on, it just doesn't do it. So unfortunately, the little notifications will pop up every now and again. So I'm going to do a little bit in the face now. So I'm going to do this little just a little dark shadow just underneath the neck. Just separate. I don't want too much in the face. I just want like a little hint, maybe in the lip. No, I want very little black in the face, really. So I'm going to select the faces. I'm going to put a little bit just kind of like above the eye. And then just a tiny little bit just below the eye. But try and be sparing with it, don't too much. Oops. Just shrink that down, just get rid of that bit in there. So I'm going to do the same on this side. Just a bit of black there. And a little bit of black on that bottom bit. You can put more on the face, but for me that's going to do it. I don't know more than that. Going to come into the centre rays now. Just want a bit of black. Just in the corner of these petals. So selecting one by one, just in the base part, just around it, just a little circle black. Just like that. And that's pretty much it on there, you don't have to do much more than that. And I think that's going to do it for most of my black shading. There might be a little bit of mist, but we'll come back to it if we have. I'm just going to come in just a few little bits that I've missed. So there was a few little bits in the hair, just there, there, there and there. Just there, any little sort of little dot areas you see that you kind of like haven't quite selected, just get rid of them. So I'm going to go into the face now. I'm going to select like a skin tone. I'm going to select like a lighter version first and then come in with a darker one. And I mainly want to hit like the edges really, so just want to select just the face bit to begin with. So I want this line underneath the chin. A little line just here. I will raise that a little bit in the mouth. I'm just putting in the bold areas just to begin with. A little bit just down the corner of the mouth. A little bit just here underneath the nose. And go back a sec. Make sure it's on a separate layer. There we go. So I just realised I was going over the black. You don't want that. I want a black in front. So make sure the colour's on a separate layer. So yeah, just there, a little bit underneath the nose. I'm just coming down from the tip of the nose. Just pointing down to the bridge. Just there. Coming back behind it. And a little bit just kind of around the rest of the face. So a little bit here. A little bit around the back. Just like so. And once you have that, I'm going to go for this darker deep red now. I'm going to kind of go over everything we just done, just a bit shorter, so I'm just making the edges of it a bit darker. Just like that. So real simple. You don't want too much, sometimes too much can easily ruin the face. I'm going to create reds. I'm just going to create a separate layer for the red. I basically want like a bit of red on the cheeks. So I'm going to select this. Come up. I'm going to turn my transparency right down. I'm just going to go in circle formation just like this. Just until I build up a little bit of red on the cheek towards the inner eye bit. Just like that. And like that. I'm going to zoom in, just turn it back up and just get a little bit just inside the lip now. So the lips one's going to have bold red, some nice red lipstick, just like so. So once you've got that done, I'm going to go down to the neck, and I'm going to do the neck the same sort of tones as what I've done the face. I'm going to go to skin tone, over most of it, get a darker tone, and just come over the edge. It's the same sort of pattern for doing it's just the lighter tone then a darker tone. Do the same for the other face now. I might slightly modify so it's a slight bit different, but it's going to be pretty much most of the same. Just going to have this under the cheek, Come around the top of the head. Show it down a little bit, just down the corner of the mouth. A little bit under the nose. A little bit behind the eye. A little bit, just come down towards the bridge of the nose. And this one up a little bit underneath the eye. So I'm going to go back to the colour now. I'm going to set the darker red we done. The darker flesh tone. And just kind of come in again, just on the edge parts. Just darkening up everything we just done. Just like so. And just create another layer because I've accidentally done that on the red layer that I've done. Just bump that up, turn the contrast, the opacity down for it. And just build it up gently to get the right kind of tone. Make that one slightly stronger coming towards the eye. And then again, just shrink it down and just get those lips done. Like so. Once you got done, select a little bit inside the eye, just there. I'm going to get a dark flesh tone. Just bold those in. So now we've got that done, I'm going to flip it back around the other way. So it's round the right way. We know it's the right way because the rose obviously here is round the right way. And I'm going to come in now and I'm going to select the petals of this rose. I want this in red, and I'm going to use the calligraphy pen for this. So I'm going to get a nice hard edge for this red. So I'm going to draw around and just leave this little highlight edge around the outside. I have to colour that in because I didn't select that area just there. Just keep that going around, just get all the petals done the same way. Accidentally went over that one. Just be careful you don't go into the wrong ones. Just turn that off. Just get that a little bit just in there. I'm going to do the same on the inside parts here, so I'm going to go around. Just colour them in, just leave a little highlight just around the edge. Just like so. Colour this up and down, like so. Shrink this down because that's a bit too wide for this area now. Just get a hint of it, just so each bit's coloured in, like that. And now we've got that done. I think I might do the other two roses in yellow, just to kind of break it up. I was originally going to do them red, and I might switch to red eventually, but let's just see how it comes out yellow. You know, because there's a fair bit of red in it already. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can never add too much red, and especially in an old school tattoo, you know, you can have as much red as you want, really. You know, I've seen a few tattoos where they just literally just use, like, you know, black, red, like yellow and sort of flesh tones, and the work looks amazing. You know, sometimes a limited colour palette does really work. Oops. Sketching over the edges. Yeah, I really like that. You could always change the colour of this one as well to make it a slight difference between the two of them, but I don't want to create too much difference. So I'm going to have this one yellow as well. So just colouring these areas. Until that's all coloured in. And once that's all coloured in, I'm just going to select these leaf parts around the edge. I'm going to select this nice kind of classic old school dark kind of green, and I'm going to colour in most of it, just leaving a slight edge on one side. Now, there's lots of different ways of colouring these leaves in. This is just one way of doing it. Yeah, it just gives a really cool effect to the tattoo design. So I've got that one done. Let's get the other side. And whichever side you sort of do, I recommend sort of like just kind of continue that through for the rest of the ones on the same rows. You know, sometimes it looks a bit weird if they sort of like suddenly change sides. Flip it around the right way. So I'm going to select these inside areas just here. I'm going to go back down to the spray paint tool. I'm going to select that yellow again. Kind of bring that throughout the design. And then these inside parts just here. Let me select it. I'm going to select a blue, I think, old school blue. Just a bit of faint from the top, just like that. Also going to have blue in this one's eye. This one's going to have orange in her eye. Where's it not letting me select that? There we go. I know there's something about orange eyes in old school. I really like doing the eyes orange. Select the inside part of these, and you can either have these say like reds if you want, which yeah I quite like, or you can black them out if you want. Really depends on the effect you want. I'm going to go for red because I like that. Just tie my nib, it's got a bit loose. Now I'm going to select these areas just on this outside. Just there. Just here. Go back down to the reds. And I basically just want the red kind of fading out from it. Just like that. It's just a really kind of simple effect that I really like. Just going to do the neck part here that I missed before. And then lastly we just got to do the hairbands. I'm going to go back to the calligraphy pen for this. Shrink this right down. We haven't got too much of the blue in here, so I like to kind of carry colours through, so I'm going to do the same kind of blue on her banner, or her bandana, or hairpiece, or whatever you want to call it, headband. I might do the same on hers. So same colour, different pattern. Let's go back to the black. Just to raise a few little bits around there which we don't need, those little dots. Come out, have a look. And lastly, it's going to come across here. Gemini symbol. Is that the same red? Let's just make it separate so I can get in the right the right area, the right angle. Otherwise it's going to bug me. Oh, come on. Oh, why is this so hard to draw? There we go. Right. Yeah, just kind of get that so it's nice and kind of sort of centered the design. Maybe a slight tilt just so it kind of fits on the rose properly. And there we have it, people. That is how you draw an old school Gemini design. You know what you can do, like I've seen we did before. Just go on here. Just going to add in my old school bit of paper that I have. Just click multiply. Set the top. I literally just do this myself. Just using like the spray paint tool and a few of the other brushes. You know, if they're on paper, you can use the same sort of thing, like a coffee stain or tea stain. It just makes it a bit kind of vintagey looking, which I quite like. But yeah, completely up to you guys if you want to do that. It's just an optional little thing you can do. But yeah, people, that is how you draw Gemini in the old school tattoo way. I might do a sort of Japanese version and Neotrad as well if that's you guys interested. If you are interested in that, comment below and let me know. If I get enough requests, I will eventually get it done. But I'm going to go through all the old school.